guys asking me tough questions.
Tom, when you watch them on film, what is the biggest difference between John and Juwan?
I don't know if there's a lot of great differences. I mean, they're a little bit of a different team right now because I'd say the guard is playing a lot better. Brooks. I mean, he shot 20% last year, 20-some%. I mean, just the constant maturation of a guard. I think Teskey's pretty much the same. I don't think there's a lot of difference. They just run different things, but even that, defensively, offensively, they're going to be running a little bit more, but I think it's their personnel. Sometimes they're going with three small guards. But a lot of similarities in the team because they got a lot of players back.
What's Michigan doing well this year? What's impressed you with the way they're playing right now?
Well, they're shooting the ball pretty well, I mean, their wins, they're shooting it really well. Their losses, they haven't shot it as well, but they've been, I think, very solid defensive team. They're not turning the ball over a lot. They're just, that when you play with three guards a lot, it's got pluses. Now, if people catch up to them and things happen where there's bigger teams out there, which we're not necessarily a lot bigger team, but you got to make adjustments. They won some big games. They got on a roll. Schwann's done a good job with them, and they got a lot of veterans back, though. They got, Livers now is a junior. They got two seniors that are their two best players. Brooks has worked his way in there. He's a junior. They got a lot of guys back, and then they throw in a Wagner, who I think is a freshman, but you don't know how much he played over in Europe. It's a different animal over there, so probably more experienced than most. So they've done a good job with them, and they've got good players that are experienced players.
Beeline.
Oh, I don't know. Everybody will say that. That's ripping one and not the other. That's what everybody wants to see. They shot the ball pretty good under Beeline. A little bit different system, but. And remember this, he recruited 90% of those players. So, I give Juwan credit as Juwan grows in his. I give John credit for, what he did there and the culture. And I think they got good guys, and that's because of who he recruited. So, I don't think it's that much different, if I heard 100 times, I've heard it 1,000 times, give guys freedom, let them do this, let them do that. If you got that kind of personnel, then it's better. So what does Brooks bring to the table? What does a completely different Livers bring to the table? I don't think it's that he wasn't allowed to do that last year. I think, he wasn't playing as much because of different people in. They had different personnel, and he's improved. There is a process, You guys should put that word down and use it every day in any athletics you choose to cover. There is a process, and we just try to speed up the process all the time, and most of the time, it's hard to speed up.
You got a lot of in-state guys, obviously, on this team. Some of them, like Marcus, Gabe, Thomas, have been playing. Get a little taste of the rivalry last year. Obviously, bigger roles, it would appear, going into this game. How much did that experience last year help them in this, and how much different will Sunday be for those guys?
I don't know if the experience last year helps them. I think when you grow up in this state, you know that there's a rivalry, and that's the advantage of recruiting kids close to home, or even in the surrounding states. It's when you get a guy from Texas, that Julius is, probably, I try to compare it to him, that it's just make it like the Cowboys in Philadelphia. You'll understand it then, that's the Hatfields and the McCoys. But, anytime you get experience, and we've got a couple experienced guys that played a lot against Michigan. They've got a couple experienced guys that played a lot against us, and so I'm always anxious for the young kids to see how they respond, see what they do. Some rise up, some wither a little bit,
Do you have much of a relationship with Juwan, whether it was pre-Michigan or
Recruited Juwan a little bit,
after?
you know.
And also, I guess just what are your thoughts on him stepping into a role like that? I mean, you know what it takes, a guy who's never done it at this level, at this era of basketball, to step into a job like that.
I do
Sort
know
of
what it takes because I did the same thing, you know, in a different way. I mean, he's played at the NBA level, and he was in a program that was very good, you know, Miami Heat and Pat Riley and everything.
He's been around college ball, though. You know, he's just sort of coming in parachuting.
Yeah, but you know, he's got a son that plays. I mean, I don't know if it's that big a difference. Like I say all the time, what's different is how you deal with the egos and the people of college. The games are the same, the plays are the same, the defenses are the same. All that stuff's very, very, very similar. It's how you deal with the people, and it's probably a little easier going from pro ball to college ball, where guys say yes instead of throw a towel at you, you know, than it is if you go from college ball to pro ball. So I don't think he's got a good staff. He's got some experience. Phil Martelli's a good friend of mine. He's been a head coach for 100 years. Washington, you know, he's been there, but he's been in the college ranks. So I think he's done a good job of putting a staff around him that know the college game. But I think, you know, the X's and O's, the defenses, I mean, they're not that much different in college and pro. We make a bigger deal about it. I don't think it is a bigger deal. It's the guys. It's how you deal with the players. That's maybe the biggest difference. And I think it would be enjoyable to come in and get to deal with guys, and practices mean something. Not that they don't in the pros, but during the season they can't. So I bet you that part of it he's probably enjoying.
What do you remember about recruiting
For one or two more guys.
We didn't recruit him a lot. We recruited him early, and God, it was back when I want to say Tom Crean was here. Yeah, he was. So I just remember talking about. I remember going over to school, watching him play, but you know, we didn't recruit him real long. So, but I've followed his career. I think he's done a good job. He really has, and he's done a good job there. It's been a great start for him. And we'll see what goes.
With Bingham doing some good things defensively in the paint, has he also grown and shown some things away on the perimeter, which he will have to do, I imagine, in a game like this? He looks
As
like
far
he
as
covers,
guarding?
yeah, looks like he covers ground
I
pretty
mean,
well.
he can guard pretty good. You know, he's going to have to get out and do some things. I mean, Marcus is that work in progress, that progress. I mean, I didn't see last night. I haven't seen that in a practice. But we did get after it this week in practice, and I think it really helped a guy like that, you know. We got to get back to smash mouth basketball, you know. That's what we are. That's what we do. And we're getting to be, you know, there's just so much outside noise that you don't get to coach a guy like you need to. Marcus Bingham's getting better. He's getting better because he's gone through some stuff. You know, I look at Cassius Winston. I think about his freshman year, you know. It's so funny how this works. And if people will let you do your job, I think every one of us could do a great job. Marcus Bingham has taken some progress. The next thing, everybody will be patting him on the back, but me, I'll be still kicking him in the ass because he's got to get better every single day. When he got tired last night, he struggled a little bit. But I was so proud of what he did. And I like to say this too, because I said it to my team the first thing in my meeting this morning. Joey Hauser, Brock Washington, all those walk-ons that I put in for a minute that I almost hate doing that because it's almost demeaning to some of them who are good enough to play. The job they did, our scout team has been unbelievable this year. You know, we moved Julius down there, and it's really created Connor George. We've placed some. And they did a job, and I thought Joey Hauser, the job he did being Georgie, was the reason that Xavier blocked all those things, you know. There's some guys that, you know, you talk about a team. What is a team? My walk-ons are creating a hell of an atmosphere here as a team, almost like in the early days when I was able to redshirt guys and do that. You know, now those things are illegal because nobody wants to progress. They just want to be stars immediately. But I think that's really helped this team and this program. And a couple of those guys have done an unbelievable job.
With Bingham, was it important for him to have that game without having a point, do you think? He seemed to.
You know, I don't know
embrace
if
that.
it was important. That's a good
He
question.
seemed to embrace like the job.
What
was what he said.
was exciting is that'll be, you know, when Marcus Bingham is gone, I'm going to be telling some punk freshman, young kid, you know, that's tall and skinny, you know, it's not just about scoring.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we had a guy that impacted the game and didn't score a point. How many times does that happen? Anywhere, you know? So even though I wish they'd have scored a couple points, it's kind of cool now that I can always use that as a, hey, Rock, you can impact the game in other ways, you know, passing it, rebounding it, defending it, you know. I mean, everybody wants to score. I mean, I understand that, but helping a team win, you can do it a lot of different ways. And for Marcus to do that, I thought was awesome.
X called it was Kenny Goins game. Yeah.
Kenny Goins' game?
Yeah.
Wow.
Comparison.
I wish he was as
17
quick.
He had 17.
17 boards, didn't attempt a shot at Louisville.
Louisville.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember having 17 boards here. I had these visions of shooting that ball over Zion, and X hasn't done that. See is how do they handle the quicker turnaround, and two kind of opposite. Not that the teams are opposite. I mean, Illinois had some good guards. Michigan's got some good guards, but the you know, how they play is completely opposite. So I think this will be a good test for us and a good chance to see how we react, how we respond. And I'm telling you, though, we're still in the real early stages of the growing process. I hoped that some of this would have been a month ago, but for various reasons it wasn't. And now the key is that we can build and, you know, to have a chance to win a league championship. They say you got to win a lot of your home games, try to split on the road, you know, and so we got home games right now. We got to find a way to win.
So much talk usually in this thing about Xavier and Cassius going against each other, but he was talking too about it's important because if either of them are playing well, that usually means the team's playing
Yeah.
well, and that's really the key for this game. Not so much one-on-one with each other, but
I think that's a great point on his part. That you know, if he's our straw that stirs the drink, and Xavier's their straw that stirs the drink, and you know, they're different players in some ways, but their value to the team is very similar. So, do they negate each other? I don't think either one of them will negate each other, but I think that how well one or both of them play will have a big impact on the game.
Kind of the same way too with Xavier and Livers too. They're kind of linked together for.
Yeah, you know, I mean, Xavier last year, you know, guarded Teskey a lot, and he'll still guard him some, but there'll be some challenges for Xavier, which will be good challenges. That's why last night, Illinois went real small, and he was guarding a 6'4" guard, and I think that was good practice for Xavier, and because that's the way the whole league's going to be. You know, it'll be different things every night, different people. It's really interesting, you know, what happened last night, even to Purdue and Minnesota or Washington getting beat at home by UCLA or Gonzaga, you know, down most of the game. I told you it's going to be a a topsy-turvy year where there's nobody maybe head and shoulders above anybody, but then again, nobody head and shoulders below anybody.
Where are you at right now with Rocket coming off the bench versus starting? I know he's still physically kind of.
Yeah, you know, the Rocket thing is, you know, he was out here shooting. He's going to have to, you know, I just checked with my trainer today. So in 30 days, he's had 3 full practices, 1 before Christmas and 2 after. And, you know, I think fans are sometimes, I get a kick out of fans and media, if you want the truth, on they see a jersey, they see a player out there, and they just assume that everything's back to normal. You know, football goes through this a lot, you know. The one carrot in basketball that's even more difficult is timing and shooting and things like that. Like if a quarterback's missing time, defensive lineman misses, you can adjust. Center misses, you can adjust. When it's a guard, a skill position guy. So he's had those 3 practices. He's had about 5 practices. He had 3 weeks where he was totally off. that has been difficult for a kid who's never been hurt. So it's funny you ask, because I had a little meeting with him last night. I had a meeting with him this morning just to tell him to take the pressure off himself, do what he can do. Everything else is going to come, but somehow we got to make up for all those reps. I use Cassius as an example. When Cassius, went through and is going through what he's gone through, but those first 3 weeks, it was barely come to practice and go home, and not getting any shooting in. His shooting percentages dropped down to 30-some% from the three. And so here's Rocket, who's expecting everything to be, there. We're expecting him to be able to understand coverages. I mean, we spent a lot of time on a very, very tough prep. So now, I learned something too. I'm going to try to spend more time with him on film, but get more time on him shooting. It doesn't bother him when he shoots. It still, bothers him some when he runs, so we can't just practice him to death. And but I am really pleased. I thought last night, a couple average shots, but I thought last night, defensively, running, when he puts the ball on the floor, you can see parts of what he's gonna be, and I use Brooks as an example. 2 years ago, he wasn't even on the radar screen. So we've got to be a little patient with him. I've got to be a little patient. Believe it or not, I was a little patient with him last night. But at the same time, he's got to realize what he can do, maximize what he can do, let what he's not doing as well right now because of lack of practice time work its way back. But I really am very pleased with the progress he's made considering the time off he's had. You guys always look for quarterback controversies. I don't. And I say that with respect. But, my druthers were, I could have started Gabe at the beginning. But I thought starting Rocket gave him more reps and that were needed. Gabe has done a good job. Over the years here, as you guys know, I've sixth man player of the year. I still think Gabe brings some instant offense off the bench, but Rocket's weeks away from getting back to normal. Then we'll deal with it then. But both Gabe and Arnie were on board with that from the beginning. So the one thing I don't have is, last night I thought defensively and running our break and moving the ball side to side was the most connected this year's team's been. Where last year at the end of the year we spent 10, 12, 14 games when even you guys commented how connected we were. We've been jagged here, for a lot of good reasons. But what we're going to do right now is just try to keep getting better, because I think somebody that's not here asked me last night, do you think this team is now in its stride? I mean, we're nowhere near that. We're just starting to get where we can, practice together. Cash is practicing. He was practicing a little more solidly than he got hurt. So I think now he's fine. And, Kyle's going to be Kyle. But if we get Rocket back practicing, and it's hard to have good practices if you're point guard. If your quarterback's not practicing, it's hard to have good practices. So these practices that we missed out on over Christmas, I did think we had a couple two-a-days and we got a lot done. We looked more physical. We looked a little more athletic. And Xavier didn't look robotic at all. He made some great passes. So I think he's starting to feel more and more comfortable, which his role is. Last year his role was to be the fourth or fifth option. His role has changed. And so we're just building right now, but we got a long way to go. We're going to have some bumps. We're going to have some ups and downs, and we're going to have to get guys ready. Remember, the goal of the year for me is to win enough games to be in the hunt, but to make sure that we're making progress at the end.
What do you think led to the connectedness last night? You guys hadn't always found that in the early part of the season.
Yeah, I think that they realize that we've gone through a lot. I said when we went through all the things with Josh, with Cash, with even Rocket, sometimes that bonds you in its own way. And I think what guys do is focus in, realizing, hey, we're not as smooth on things. We got to make sure each other. My big thing for New Year's was help your teammate. Be a good teammate. That's not a problem for us. but help your teammate on the floor. That's been a little bit of a problem, both offensively and defensively. And this thing about moving the ball, I just think we got a little better at it for a game or two. You know, I thought we were pretty good against Eastern moving it. I thought we were pretty good against Western. I mean, we are making some progress in that area, which gives Cassius more of a chance to flow into things, and it's been better.